Few things are certain in this life, my friends, but one incontrovertible, inarguable truth that we all know, maybe over the past like 4 or 5 days, is that our sweat glands are all working really, really well because it has been hot. And to explain why and to explain maybe how long these conditions may persist is my good friend Landon Adlet. He's the chief forecaster over there at the National Weather Service. And Landon, as I understand it, you just came in from Majuro, and boy, are your arms tired.
That is correct. I've been flapping my arms all day Saturday. It's like a 12-hour flight with the island hopper up and down, up and down, up and down. If you've never flown on the island hopper to Hawaii, I recommend you do it at least once because you get the experience to see all the islands between Guam and Hawaii. That's Chuuk, Pohnpei, Kauai, Kwajalein, and Majuro.
Yep.
And so it's a really long flight, but it's really neat to see all the people that come on and off the plane with the leis, the ties, the headwear and stuff. And so it's really an interesting experience. So if you've never done the Island Hop or United, I recommend you do it. And so I was
There you
in
go.
Majuro for about a week working a tsunami ready program with the Marshallese government over there. So this is going to be a project over the next several months. Hopefully we'll get most of the main islands of the region tsunami ready, meaning that they are ready to handle any tsunami threats and as well as the communications and receiving information to make sure their communities are safe.
Okay, can you talk real quick, enlighten us if you would, about that beautiful piece of cultural jewelry that you're wearing right now? I'm assuming that this was gifted to you while you were in Majuro. That is beautiful.
Yeah, this is a Marshallese necktie, and these are very popular in the Marshall Islands, and they can have different styles. And I really like this one because it had the Marshallese flag on it, and so this one stuck out to me. I also got two more neckties. I might wear those next time. That they vary so much in style and size, but also these beautiful wall ornaments. And
Those
so
are nice.
I
And
told you
and
way
I
back.
mean, you may be able to buy them for a certain price and everything, or if you're lucky, someone gifts it to you. But they are invaluable. I mean, it's a blessing. It's a good luck charm. It wishes you prosperity, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and like I said, way back when I was in Pompeii in December, I have that wood carved turtle from Pompeii. My goal is when I travel to the islands, I always bring something back that I can put on my wall and hopefully have like a whole um, treasure chest of displays from the islands. And so it
There
really
you
makes
go.
this job more special. So it
Who
was a
needs
great
stickers on
opportunity.
their suitcase when you can just have amazing, pieces of, of cultural jewelry? I mean, like legit things from all the wonderful island nations we have. So congratulations, and we're glad you're home safe. Now, that being the case, you were mentioning tsunamis a couple moments ago and being tsunami aware, right? Now, obviously, you're not with the U.S. Geological Survey, but you do a lot of work with them, and we've had a few earthquakes that were recorded, within the region lately. On your side of the emergency response fence and everything like that, how closely are you guys paying attention to that?
Yeah, we always watch closely. We're working closely with the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center out of Hawaii, and they are a branch of the National Weather Service. So we work very closely with the PTWC, also the International Tsunami Information Center. That's who I was traveling with in Majuro, also co-located in Honolulu, Hawaii. But we're always working with the PTWC to monitor and track for earthquakes and any possible tsunami threat because we do not issue the tsunami watches and warnings, but we are the liaison for communicating such threats and hazards in any kind of settings that may come from a small, medium, or very large destructive earthquake. And remember that Marianas Trench, that's just to our east, that is a source for earthquakes. And if it's large enough, you can generate a tsunami. And so we always have that threat. Guam is a tsunami ready community. We are not tsunami proof, but we are tsunami ready.
There you go, and that is the key element. Now, I was here in '93 when we had like the big earthquake, the one that was a 8.1 on the Richter scale that lasted for
Mm-hmm.
63 seconds, and I know these numbers because I was young back then, and it really impacted me. At the time when that earthquake happened, it was around like sundown, and we actually had pretty good weather. But is there any weather patterns that tend to change when the tectonic plates like shift around as they sometimes do?
Yeah, fortunately, that is not the case. There's been speculation with like large tropical cyclones with the lower pressure pushing against the Earth's surface that maybe that might trigger some plates to move and wiggle a little bit, but that's something for the researchers to determine. But as far as like earthquakes and seismic activity, there's not too much effect on the weather overhead. And so our our goal always, or is our hope, is always that the fair weather is present when something geophysical happens, because the last thing we want is a natural disaster situation on our hands, a typhoon and an earthquake and a tsunami. That would be a worst case scenario for us.
Mhm. Okay, well, let's talk about some weather and the stuff that you are trained. I mean, obviously, you're a man of many talents, but weather is your true passion. And it has been kind of hot, as I was alluding to lately, and everything. The grass isn't loving it. I've seen like a lot of leaves down. Um, why is this happening right now, and how much longer are we going to have this before we get some of the wet stuff?
Yeah, definitely. This is coming up on the back end of the dry season. So this is very typical. Our hottest months of the year, typically May and June. And this is when conditions are most dry across the region, which our rainfall numbers are pretty low for the month so far. We've clocked in just under a half inch of rain for the first half of May, which is about 1.5 inches below normal. So this is our first dry month this year. We've been very abundantly wet most of the months of the year, but that's typical. We're in the dry season. Things are changing. We're going from a La Nina to instant neutral, and we may be going towards a El Nino in the next couple of months. So it's just more indications of more change coming that may affect our tropical cyclone, our typhoon season later this year. Much more on that on June 1st when we release the typhoon seasonal outlook for the region on June 1st. And so we'll be communicating that. But we're at the end of the dry season. Things are drying out nicely. We have these little spotty showers, and so definitely the sun is overhead. We passed the no shadow day, so that sun is a little bit higher in latitude as it passes over around noon. So that sun is nearly overhead. It's going to be baking down with the fewer clouds. It just makes it for a hot mess out there, and that's going to be the theme for the next couple weeks. Probably in June, we'll start seeing more of the heavier rain start mixing in. That's our climatological shift from the dry season to the wet season. And it could deviate a week or two earlier or a week or two later, depending on the overall weather pattern. And it's pretty quiet out there. And so we're going to see these hot days and not so bad at night. With the fewer clouds at night, the lighter winds, it's going to cool down nicely. I was outside at 6 o'clock this morning and it felt fantastic outside. So if you have a lot of outdoors work, do it in the evening after the sun is away from its peak height in the sky. Zooming out farther, there's really not much to speak of. There's a weak circulation near Yap and Plow that's not poised to develop, but it will generate showers in Yap and Plow. And of course, this ITCZ over in Madro. But we may have some development sometime early next week in this general vicinity. A lot of the forecast models have been picking up on a signature of something to develop maybe later this weekend, early next week. Where it goes, when it develops, if it develops, that remains the question that we'll be watching over the next several days. But the week ahead, we are looking mighty fine this week with calm winds and dry skies. So not much to speak of in the world of weather, but again, we'll be watching for any kind of indications for something to develop early next week in the Western Micronesia region.
There you go. Okay, before I send you on your merry way, because of course it is Monday, you just got back on the island. I'm sure jet lag may play a little bit. At the very least, you're probably hankering to go out and get some good food that we have here.
Yes.
It is graduation season, right? Most of the upper schools tend to have graduation inside. I know it's become kind of very fashionable since the pandemic days to actually do these outside graduations. So for people that are listening right now and they're graduation planners or they're just family members that want to have parties after graduation, what should they be planning for when we celebrate the people that have earned their diplomas?
Yeah, definitely. If it's going to be an outdoor, make sure you have something to fan yourself with. If it's going to be in the late morning hours, it's going to be a scorcher. But if it's in the evening hours, really not that bad. And so I prefer those evening graduations outdoors. We had those back in my high school years, and they were so nice, especially when the weather cooperated. But this week, it'll be a great week for outdoor graduations. Just a typical spotty passing shower, nothing much to speak of in that realm. But I did have a note to myself, 8 years ago today, Typhoon Dolphin passed by Guam, 8-year anniversary.
Wow, this day in history. Very, very interesting. Well, like we say, count your blessings, not your money, everybody. And Landon is blessing us not only with his presence on this very show, but also the knowledge that he gives to us each and every Monday. So Landon, thanks as always, man. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Jason. See y'all next week.
All right. And please stay tuned because we are getting to News Bites when we come back.